I saw a man on the internet who built an engine with 4 springs and a crankshaft that doesn't need any power source. So I tried to build it myself and I took it a step further. Without even connecting the springs, I managed to start the engine and get free energy from it, and it could run forever. To build this engine, first we had to buy the parts we needed. The first thing we bought was a tension spring, and then I had to go to our local junkyard to find an old car crankshaft. I found the parts and loaded them into the car. It's really important for this engine to run smoothly. That's why I also bought the bearings we needed. Now I had to bring all the parts I had into the garage so I could first assemble the bearings for this engine and then move on to the next step, which was building the chassis for our engine. I started the construction. First I had to straighten the iron pieces I had, then cut them into enough pieces so we could use them to build the chassis we wanted. After that I tested whether our crankshaft would fit the chassis or not. Now that our measurements were correct, we had to weld the bearings to the crankshaft because the smooth operation of this engine is very important. That's why I started welding and attached the bearings to our chassis, and now you can see that the crankshaft is spinning very smoothly on the bearings and the chassis. Now it was time to find a place for the springs. I attached the first spring to the crankshaft and you can see that it's almost working. I tried to install the rest of the springs exactly like the first one so our engine would be complete. And now it's time to spin the engine. Before we see the result, make sure to subscribe to my channel.
Let's go.
It won't turn.
What happened? We need to apply a lot of force to it. For example, we need to connect the airbox now and spin it really fast. That's why I went and welded a bolt to the end of our crankshaft so I could attach the airbox to the end and spin it quickly with air power. But the bolt broke off, it snapped. I welded the bolt back on and started turning the crankshaft again. I was helping it with my hand, but it still wouldn't turn. So I removed 2 of the springs to make it spin more easily, but still our engine wouldn't turn. I decided to use a drill instead of the airbox, and I almost managed to turn it, but the engine still wouldn't start. But let me tell you what's really going on behind the scenes with this engine. All free energy engines and engines that run without fuel are fake, and what they actually do to make the engine appear to run is this. They set up a camera on a tripod so it doesn't shake and film their engine. In order to get our engine spinning, we removed its springs and started spinning it at a very high speed, then stood aside so the camera could film it completely. Then I adjust the camera again so that I'm in the frame, sit in the shot, and talk about the engine. Now you cut it here. I take it into the editing software and reverse it. Now I'll show you the output. What I meant was that the engine video gets reversed, and we put both videos that we shot separately side by side, and now when I spin it, you can see the engine is turning. Whereas, with editing, I placed this engine onto the second video. That's all there is to it. They're all like this. So, subscribe,